I just sat down. I mean, I just literally slipped right in front of the camera as the music ended. Whew, what timing. Well, welcome to Aaron Live. This is the post-Kansas City edition. I haven't been on for a few days, and I'm getting withdrawals, man. I put my Las Vegas shirt on. I don't know why, but there it is. What's that say? It says, established 1905, Sin City. Wow. You'll notice that there's a banner missing right there, because that was the banner that I took to the Kansas City show, and it's still in the luggage because I just got in late last night. So you'll have to look at Batman statue that I got from the Warner Brothers store. Remember that place? Yeah, it's right over there. Okay. Let's see who the heck is here. Hyper Potato says, it's been weird with no last second live streams. I think it has been. Look at this. Statistical Zero, who came out of nowhere to be one of our regulars. Good afternoon, all. Congrats on the 1,000 subs, Aaron. Yeah, you know what? He's right. Now, here's what I did. I was doing a store signing at Phoenix Comics in Kansas City area. A couple of dudes were standing there, and we were talking. I said, I was kind of pitching Wraith of God and Garbage Man trade paperback and some other things. And I said, do you guys know that I have a YouTube channel? And they said, why? No, we did not. So I said, I'm only too shy of 1,000. You guys get on your phones and subscribe right now. So the guy pulled up the thing, and it said, well, wait a minute, you're at 997, not 998. I was like, well, someone unsubscribed to me? How could someone unsubscribe to this channel? I mean, that's just like heresy. I mean, you can't get better video entertainment than you get on this show for free. Any place. Where can you go for free and get this kind of entertainment? And then someone had the audacity to unsubscribe. It was hurtful. But anyway, so these two guys subscribed, right? And then the other guy calls his daughter and says, subscribe to this guy's channel so we can hit 1,000. And she did, and we did. So it feels maybe a bit artificial, but we are there. And so what does that mean? That means that we're going to have a humongous 1,000th celebration episode this coming Sunday on The Big Show. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, whenever, somewhere in that neighborhood, 5-ish, 4:30, 5-ish. And I'm working on at least one guest. So we'll see if that pans out. At the very least, I'll bring on David Williams for competitive drawing if I have to. But anyway, so it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. So you don't want to miss that. So anyway, let's see. People are rolling in, which I like to see. Hyper Kaiju is here. And you're right on the money. So finally, you can tell this is a guy that's been surfing the web going, where can I get some entertainment? And he found it right here. That's beautiful, man. He's given me a shout out too for the 1K subs. Thank you. And I just, of course, told the story of how I actually manipulated it. Stephen Ing is here to listen while he's driving. So that's almost like a podcast. I'm like a video podcast. That's next level stuff right there. Now this is interesting. Caloran D seems to be confused. Nighthawk Warrior is here. AJ Tom, greeting chat. Welcome home, Aaron. Thank you, AJ. Joseph Bernardo from Vegas. You'll appreciate my shirt. Well, I'm going to tell you con stories in just a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you stories in just a minute. Let's see here. I just got to make sure I say hey to everybody first. Bill Maxwell is here. Good to see you back, Aaron. Thank you. Prater 7 is here. Hello, hello, hello. Joseph Bernardo, 1,000. Awesome. Yes, we did it. Skills 146 says hi. It's a simple greeting, but it's an effective one. Hello, Skills. Thanks for joining us. Robert Frank. Can't. Oh, look at this now. He's pitching. He's pumping my project for me. Can't wait for Wraith. Also, if anyone gets a chance, check out the Relentless Tin Soldier. He's not only is he pimping my project, he's apparently pimping his project. And that's pretty sly. I like that. I give you. You know what? I'm going to give you a round of applause for your slyness. It makes a lot of sense to come on someone else's show, put a comment in there, and then slip in your own production or your own, promotion.
Logical.
Yeah. So Spock agrees with you. Good move there. Hi, Warrior. I'm from Instagram. Well, how about that? Hi, Warrior. I'm from Instagram. So now we know where he's from. Yeah, well, I haven't had a chance to look into the actual monetization of this channel, but I'll be doing that later today, so that I maybe can start taking super chats, which means basically I won't read your messages anymore unless you pay me. Yeah, I think Prater's onto something here. They are afraid of my success because it's growing so rapidly that they're afraid I'll become, Aaron Tube instead of YouTube. I think you're onto something there. I didn't know about Brohawk. Get somebody that you can beat like Andy. Wow. Not only did he insult me, he insults Andy. That felt good. Get that out of my system. K Manifesto he says, "What's up?" Because that's what he always says. I was actually on his show with the other guys. They'll come to me in a second. They're regulars here, but they did like an inaugural show last week, and I appeared on there, and we talked about comics. Wow. It was a good show. I had a good time. So go ahead and, K Manifesto, go ahead and feel free to pimp your show in the messages there. I can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that's not a big surprise for me. Yeah, thank you. It's been almost 2 years working on it to get 1,000 subs. That doesn't really sound like a success story, does it though? If I'd done it like in a couple months, then I'd be like, whoa, this guy's amazing. Okay. All right. I think I've acknowledged everybody. You know what I still got? I still got some of these sitting here. They've been sitting here for almost a week, but I kept the bag sealed, so they're still fresh. Chocolatey, chewy, delicious. Okay, so here's what happened. I go to a show in Kansas City, Fountain City Minicon. Okay, this is how it starts off. I go to the Portland airport, and I haven't been there for a while, clearly. And they're doing construction, right? So I check in with, and it's a true story. I shouldn't even tell this because Shelly will see it, and then he'll give her one more thing to use against me for me being dumb. But I got my airline ticket from Southwest Air, right? And they're literally right next to one of the gate entrances, and the other one's all the way at the other end of the terminal. So without really looking at my ticket, I just head in there. I wait in line, 10 minutes, wasn't huge. I get up to the security gal, and I look down at my ticket, and there's like because it's Southwest, you have like the boarding number, right? That you're in group C and you're 52 or whatever. And so I look down there, but they also have it up in a little small box up near the top of the ticket, which I immediately thought was my gate number. And I go, wait a minute. I said, I think I'm gate C. I said, can I get to C from here? And this was like E and D, because I thought, well, maybe there's a bridge across. No, she goes, no, if you got to go to gate C, you got to go all the way down to the end of the terminal and go in there. And I went, oh, great. So I went all the way down the terminal. I'm not kidding. I went through security, went through the whole rigmarole. I'm starting looking at my ticket going, okay, where do I got to go? Where do I got to go? And then I saw this little tiny writing right up the top that said gate E. Okay. So then I had to walk out of there, go all the way back down to the other end and go through security again to get into the gate E. And that was leaving. Okay. That's what I did leaving. Okay. So we do the show, all that kind of stuff. I'm heading back. Right. Well, I always do the 3-pat check. Okay. That's okay. Car keys, cell phone, wallet. If I have all those 3 things, I'm good to go. I always do it. For some reason, I didn't do it this time. So I get in the guy that's driving me, excuse me, the guy that's driving me from the hotel to the airport. We get in, go to the airport. We're there 2 hours early because I'm very getting nervous about missing flights because it's happened to me a couple times. So we're there early, talking with one of the other guests, and we're chatting up and blah, blah, blah. I get in line, Southwest again, you got to line up, right? And I actually paid to get on early, and I was the first one, A1. I bought up to get on A1. Gosh darn it, I shouldn't have eaten that chocolate. Hang on a second. My goodness. So they say, okay, we can start boarding A1 through A15, right? And at that moment, for some reason, I go, do the pat check, boom, boom. Wait a minute, where are my car keys? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I left my car keys in the freaking hotel, and I just realized it seconds before I was about to board. So here I'm in this total panic. I go over to the agent, and I'm like, tell him the story. He cries for me. We console each other, and he puts me on a later flight. And then I got to track down my keys, right? And I did. And then fortunately, the guy that drove me went to the hotel for me, picked up my keys, brought them to the airport, and I was able to get out. I think ended up leaving 5 hours later. And so I ended up getting in at midnight. But oh my gosh, what a boneheaded move. So it took what was actually a fairly enjoyable weekend and pretty much ruined it. But it was my fault. So, but there you go. This is interesting here. Did the Kansas City show promoters provide acceptable snacks? No, they did not. They did provide lunch, which I didn't eat, but I did get some snacks out of a vending machine, like trail mix. That actually worked pretty well for me, but I actually had to foot the dollar myself to get those snacks. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Thanks for the shout out, Aaron. It was great having you on. Check out Aaron's episode on the K Manifesto YouTube channel. There you go. As if these aren't enough. If listening to me talk and ramble on these things is not enough, you can actually go see me do it on someone else's show as well. Yeah, mine too. And I realized it. I've never done it before. Never. Because I drove myself to the airport, right? And here. So that's why I had my car keys with me. So I could actually get home. And as I was sitting there waiting to board the plane, and it dawned on me what I had done, you start going through your mind going, okay, I can get on the plane, get home, and just have them FedEx me my keys. But then I'm like, wait, my car is parked in long-term parking at the airport. I can't get home if I don't have my keys. So there was like no option. So you're going through this whole panic mode, trying to figure out what to do. And you have like a split second to do it because they're trying to push you to load you on the plane. I was like the first one in line. So I had like no time to think. Oh, but it was horrible. So I guarantee I'll never do that again. But Nighthawk Warrior wants to know what I'm drawing. I'm drawing in my sketchbooks today. And the first one, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want to see if you guys recognize it. But let me show you what I picked up at the show first. Nighthawk Warrior is getting anxious. He wants me to start drawing, but you're going to have to wait just a couple minutes more. All right, so check this out. I got this. This is like the hardcover reprint. Marvel did some of these. I've got a Stranko Captain America one. This is Neil Adams, X-Men, which I actually have the issues, but if I can get a reprint and a hardcover, heck yeah, I got it. 15. Actually, I got this at the store, I did the store signing at Phoenix Comics. I did a little sketch for the guy for having me out, and they say, "You sure you don't want anything else?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'll take that book and a couple of comics." And so at the show, there really wasn't much at the show that was interesting to me because it was a small show, only about 40 tables, and there was some people who had some old stuff, but nothing like really super high grade. But I found this guy who had like trades and stuff, and so I got this full color. This is the complete collection Warlock by Jim Starlin in full color. Got that for $25. Actually, I got that for my son. So he's going to take this off my hands. But here's what I did get for me. This guy also had all these like creepy magazines, right? So this is the Wrightson. I've actually seen the original art for this cover. It's humongous. And yeah, I think last I saw it was selling for, I think 20 years ago, I think Albert Moy was selling it for 15 grand or something, but I'm sure it's way more than that now. And this has a nice little Wrightson. I was just getting creepies and eerie's that had Wrightson on the inside, either inside front cover or actually a story. I think this is the one that has the Muck Monster story, and it was a color insert. So it was the Wrightson Frankenstein story in here, but it's in color. Because this is a black and white magazine, for those of you who don't know, from the 70s, 60s, and 70s. But so I picked all these up, and these all have either Wrightson inside front covers or they have Wrightson stories in them. I used to have all these, but for some reason I don't anymore. So I thought, I'll pick these up. And they're all like $10 or $5 a piece. So it's like, psh, couldn't pass that up. All right, so that's what I got at the show. So I did get something. And the show was good. I mean, for a very small show, I did really well. So I was quite pleased with that. Okay. So what are we drawing today? Well, we're drawing in sketchbooks because the second I leave town, I get three orders for sketchbooks. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, sketchbook, what are you talking about, Aaron? I don't know anything about a sketchbook. Well, actually, I know you're not saying that, but this is Raw Imagination, 20 years of sketches by me. And it's a hardcover, 64 pages, full color. It's signed and numbered, limited edition, 750 copies. And it's only $25 plus $5 shipping. But if you want a head sketch on the inside of the book, you pay an extra $20, and then it becomes $45 plus $5 shipping. How do you get one of these? Well, you PayPal me the money. That's how you do it. It's a simple process. In fact, it's so simple. Let me run a banner at the bottom. That's how you do it. And if you do order one of these from me, you want to make sure you put why you're sending me the money. For example, you would say, Aaron, I would like one of your Raw Imagination sketchbooks with a sketch inside of, and then you tell me who you'd like me to draw inside. And then you send me the money and make sure your address is attached. I can't emphasize that enough. Do not send me PayPal without your address because then I can't send you the book. So anyway, I've got 3 of these to do, and that is what we're going to do today. So let me remove that. Okay. Now, I'm not as disorganized as you might think for a last second live stream. Okay, that's a lie. I'm extremely disorganized. I don't even know where my pencils and stuff are because I packaged them up to go to the show, and they're still right over here as I leave the screen, which is always a brilliant thing to do when you're live streaming. It's just like go off stream. Oh, duh, they're not there. They're actually right behind me. Sanitary wipes, hand sanitizer. Very cautious. Okay. Well, all we really need is a pencil, right? A pencil and something to draw on. A ship and a wind to blow the sails, or something like that. It's a quote from Star Trek that Kirk used on one of the episodes. The Bones, are you familiar with the old poem that, all I need is a sail at my back or a wind at my back and the stars to guide me, or something? I can't remember what it was from because I'm not that literate. I'm not Howard Chaykin. I don't read. So oops, I just made a mess. But you know what? That's why God created garbage cans. Okay. All right, so let's try this again. Oh, there we go. We'll do a little sharpening. It's easier to draw with a sharp pencil than it is a dull pencil. So you're saying to yourself, Aaron, I'm getting bored, start drawing. And I will, but I have to get some reference first because I don't know who this character is. Let's see. Oh, geez. I don't think that's right. Okay, well now we know. I should have a no prize if you guys can figure out who this character is. This looks like a decent, as good a reference as I'm going to find for this character. I swear to you, I've never heard of this character before. This is a Charlton character. So I'm going to switch over to my other camera, and then we'll start the magic of drawing. As I move this around, ooh, that was trippy. Yeah, there we go. That's the back side of the sketchbook. I'm going to kill the light there because it's never been of much help to us. Comments are piling up. Let me see. E-Man, you are wrong. Are you going to start mailing us empty envelopes? Aaron, I don't get it. Let's see. Wait a minute. Hang on. There's a lot of what's up and hey, how you doing? Okay. Let's see here. K Manifesto likes my Wrights and Hall, my Creepy and Airy magazines. Thank you very much. Prater's actually even jealous. He likes those eerie books. Let's see. AJ's apologizing because you know what? You don't come in here, say something rude, get slapped, and then apologize for it. This is what you get when you apologize. So there you go. Can't stay. Ernst Ron, who's hosting professionals this week? I have no idea, Lewis. Draw Maine. I don't even know who that is. Let's see. Unpreparedness is just an integral part of show. Oh, I see. Unpreparedness is just as integral to the show as snacking. Matt, isn't that the truth? Oh, statistical zero. You know how much you missed just by leaving for just a moment? Let's see. Has anyone ever requested? Yes, they have actually. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's pretty funny. I'm not sure I get this. Oh, I see. The no prize. I got it. See. Oh, see. If you have to explain your joke, AJ. Man, you're taking a beating today. Okay. So, yeah, the first person who actually guesses who I'm drawing gets nothing but my admiration, which is worth, well, nothing. Okay. Gotta move this over so I can see this. Wow. I don't know who designed this character, but I'm gonna have to improve her. And of course, go live, cue the dog barking. If it's Charlton, there's a good chance it was Ditko. No, it isn't Ditko. I'm sorry. I got to show you what I'm laughing at. That was pretty good. Have I ever drawn Crustaceous Sam? No, I've never even heard of Crustaceous Sam. It may very well be Man Thing eating the dog very soon if that dog doesn't quit barking. Okay. I sometimes wonder if these guys had to, especially at the, shall we say, the lesser companies in the 60s, were like, saw that, Marvel and, well, especially Marvel, but DC had been doing superheroes longer than Marvel had, at least in the Silver Age. And wondering if they were thinking, oh my gosh, we got to come up with something. We got to come up with something. And these guys would come up with something like in 5 minutes. And they go, yeah, that looks good. Run it. Because I'm not really sure I get the mask thing she's wearing. But again, I never read the comics, so I don't know. But clearly the dude who wanted this knows the character and has read the comics, so he might be a guy who could explain his way through this much better actually than I'm doing right now. The dog has returned from his triumphant barking. Thinks he'll lay down for a bit and till the next time he hears a strange noise and feels he must start barking. Nightshade? No. Holy smokes, look at that. Statistical Zero comes through in a huge power move. It actually is Winnie the Witch. Fresh off her appearance in Ghost Manor, a Rock and Charlton book in the 60s and probably into the 70s as well. Actually, Ghost Manor may have been a 70s book. I don't know. I'm not much of a Charlton honk. I don't really know. Follow that's I did buy E-Man. I have to admit, because I thought it was interesting, and I thought Staten's art was cool. So yeah, that nose is terrible. See, look at that. Even in these head sketches in these books, I strive for a certain level of quality. Oh, come on, Aaron. Get your crap together. You'd think as much drawing as I did this weekend, I would be ready to roll, but okay. So I don't know what Winnie the Witch's what her deal was. I assume she was a witch. She was. Here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing she was like the host of like. Is my autofocus on? No. Okay. Of one of their horror books, kind of like Cain in the House of Mystery, or Abel in House of Secrets, or Uncle Creepy, or Cousin Eerie, or whatever. She was their host. But why is she wearing that goofy mask? It's like a bad superhero outfit for a character that's apparently a witch or something. So I don't know. Very bizarre. Maybe inspired by Scarlet Witch in some way. I don't know. Scarlet Witch was a superhero. I don't know. This girl, this character, this girl, like she's real. This character, maybe she was a superhero. I don't really know. So she had to have a mask. But I guess that's a question for Statistical Zero to answer, since he actually knew who the character was. Now, the next one I'm drawing after this is it's a character that's well known throughout the comic book universe. But we'll get through this first. Good old Winnie. You know, in some ways, it's kind of crazy for me to come on and live stream like this right after getting back from a show, because my voice is shot from talking and this past weekend, and actually started on Friday because I had to do a store signing, and then I did like a video interview that you can look up in Phoenix Comics on Facebook is FENIXCOMIX. And there's like a kind of a faux interview I did with one of their nutty guys there. And I was getting rave reviews for my performance because I was, you know, kind of feigning like I was insulted. And apparently the store owner thought the guy interviewing me did insult me. And so he was like really concerned that they had upset their guest. But it was all part of the show. I went back and watched the video and I thought, oh, you know, it's a decent performance by a guy like me who won a drama award in 9th grade. But, you know, I don't know that it was that convincing, but everybody in the shop thought I was offended. So I guess I did my job. So we're planning all sorts of things right now, big things for the 1000 show, the official 1000 show. I mean, obviously, this could technically be considered the 1000 show because it's the first show I did since we've hit 1,000 subscribers. But you know, something like that needs like a sort of a special, you know, Johnny Carson anniversary type show, and so that's what I'm going for. I also realized that at some point in my life, I have to quit live streaming all the time and actually do some work. So that's kind of a goal this week as well, is actually get some work done. And that work would be inking Wraith of God pages, and I may have something else, an unusual job that has presented itself to me, but I don't actually have it yet. So I'm not going to, because they actually contacted me while I was gone, and I don't really check my emails when I'm on, you know, doing shows and stuff until I get back. And so I got back to them a couple days after the fact. So hopefully it wasn't too late to miss this opportunity, but we shall see. Well, let's see. Oh, Brohawk Williams is in the house. You know what, David? That's really close. It's actually, that's who it is. Oh, let's see. Oh my gosh, you know what? I forgot to do that, didn't I? He told me if I hurried, he'd do a sketch or something. So I subbed and Dad said, now he'll do a dragon sketch for you. You know what? I'm going to. I totally forgot about that, and I'm so sorry. I'm going to do it. But you know what? Your dad left the store before I was done with his piece, so you know, another one came up, and I forgot. But I'm going to do it. North Ella. See, North Ella pushed me over 1,000, and so I feel bad. I told her I'd do a dragon sketch for her, so we'll do that. I promise. I promise. Let's see. Oh my goodness. You know, Pam Dauber, of course, was in Mork and Mindy with the late Robin Williams. Other than a gravelly voice, I'm doing okay, Nighthawk. So anyway, this is what the heck's her name? Winnie the Witch. I got to do something to sort of indicate, man, I don't want to crosshatch all this hair. So we'll do a little line work here to sort of indicate that maybe it's dark. Actually, I might. I might crosshatch this. Actually, I'm going to North Ella. I'm going to do your dragon next because I actually love drawing dragons. And so we did a drink and draw in Kansas City at some. It was really interesting. It was a bar, but it was also like a. How should we? What was it? It was kind of a. You could go in there and they had all this bottled liquor. Like 2/3 of the store was like bottled liquor, like looked like high end stuff. You know, it had a brick. The walls were brick and kind of very rustic, kind of cool, old sort of feeling to it. And they had like these coolers, you know, with glass doors on them that were full of like different sorts of beer and all sorts of, you know, interesting. I mean, if you're a drinker, which I'm not, but you know, a lot of people are sort of aficionados when it comes to that kind of stuff. So this looked like it was kind of a place that if you were, you know, kind of a beer snob or a, you know, an alcohol snob and only the best kind of stuff. They kind of seemed like it might have been the place for you. And we did this with Hero Initiative, and so I sat there and drew on. Hero Initiative has these little coasters that you draw on, and I did like a Batman, a Superman, Planet Hulk. I did the Thing, because you know I always do the Thing, but I didn't do the Man thing though. I just did the regular thing, and I did a Wonder Woman for somebody specifically there as well. So, and we had this like, I guess they didn't really do food in the sense that, you know, you could order a burger or something, but they had like these little sort of appetizer things, right? And they brought out this tray, right? It was like a wooden plank, and it had like several different cheeses on it. like different kinds of salami and meat and prosciutto and things like that, olives, and then different kinds of like crackers, and then there was like this sort of tomatoey, peachy, fruity spread thing that was on there, and it was really nicely arranged. They had this like little balsamic drizzle over everything, and it was really good. They had this cheese that was like caramel flavored. And it almost had a kind of the texture of caramel. So you started biting into it. And the first thing you thought was, "Oh my gosh, I'm eating a caramel." Then the cheesiness kind of came in after the caramel, and it was really, really tremendous. I'd never had anything like it. And don't ask me what it's called because I don't remember. I just know it was caramel cheese, and it was really, really good. So Winnie the Witch and her goofy, you know who had a mask like didn't Black Widow have a mask like this when she first appeared, like in Tales of Suspense? It seems to me she did, and I thought that was pretty lame too back then. But Black Widow became cool when she started like guest starring in Daredevil when she had like the all black outfit, you know, and no mask. Again, I like that sleeker, simple design. So yeah, so Winnie the Witch here, I think she was kind of ripping off the original Silver Age Black Widow. Yes. Now see, there's that's right there. She looks like Star Sapphire too. So this is like this character is a multiple ripoff. All right. And here's Dan Erickson, not former, but he was a former neighbor of mine when we grew up as kids together. He lived across the street, comic collector back in the day. Went on to be a Navy SEAL, and then like he's and did like that, like a dangerous deep sea fishing in Alaska, and they get on those crabbing boats and stuff. And now he's like a captain of his own boat. Quite an adventurous life Dan led. But yeah, we used to collect comics. Him and Jeff Johnson, and who else was there? Was it me, Dan, Jeff? Were we the only three that collected the comics? Because my brother never did, and Dan's older brother never did. So I think it was just the three of us. And we would get on the bus together and ride down over to Southeast Portland and hit up all the old used bookstores like Serendipity and Apache Bookstore was another one. What was the name of that porn bookstore? There was this bookstore right next to a porn theater, and they had a bunch of porn in the bookstore, but there's one small section of comics. And if we like did a V line right for the room with the comics in it, we could go in there as long as we weren't, obviously looking at the porn. So, well, armchair bookstore, that's what it was called. And so we'd get some deals in there as well. So yeah, we used to do that back in the day. So Dan, thanks for tuning in. As you may be saying, what the heck is Aaron doing? Well, this is what I'm doing. Live streaming, man. It's the new thing. Anyway, there she is. Winnie the Witch. So I've kind of educated myself because I wasn't, never heard of this character. And there's a good chance I may never see this character again. Can't imagine anybody asking for Winnie the Witch again. I was thinking, who I was thinking when I saw the guy ask for Winnie the Witch? I was thinking of Wendy the Witch, right? She was part of that whole Little Richard. I was going to say Little Richard. Richie Rich. Who are the other one? Dot. There was a little somebody, wasn't there? But anyway, they were all those. They weren't Charlton books. Who did those? But anyway, yeah, Richie Rich and Little Devil, or whatever that little devil's name was, and Casper. That's who I was thinking. You know, when I saw Winnie the Witch, I was thinking of Wendy the Witch, and then I saw this, and I was like, "Who the heck is that?" All right, I'll get a load of this. This is number 299, right? And Rodney Ulibarri already bought 300, so we have hit the 300 mark. This is like a week of achievement, of accomplishment. We're at 1,000 subs on the channel. We're 300 sketchbooks. What could possibly be next? Jerome George says I thought I was drawing Firestar because she looks like Firestar. Well, apparently she looks like everybody except Winnie the Witch, since none of us, other than Statistical Zero, knew who she was. And he also knows that those were Harvey characters. Robert Frank says Dell, but no, they were Harvey. That is correct. Lady Celtic Moon is also in the house. Welcome, lady. I'm going to go grab, pardon the werewolf legs, I'm going to go grab a sketch pad here. And draw a dragon, as promised, that I should have done on Friday and did not do. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. The guy's name is Jared McCorkindale. He's the guy that put us over 1,000 because he was $9.99, and then he got his daughter to get us to 1,000. And then I said, okay, I will do a drawing of the dragon for your daughter. So gosh darn it, I'm going to do it right now because I'm a man of my word. You know, it's kind of funny. People are sort of tight-lipped about when they find a printer, and I'm not really sure why. But yeah, I got this at I can't think of who it was. So no, I'm not going to tell you who I got it. I'll think of it in a minute. It starts with a J. They're down in Los Angeles. Really big printer. They do yearbooks mostly, but I was surprised at how good the rates were. I mean, they were very competitive too. You know, a lot of people go overseas to Korea or China to get their books printed because they're cheaper, but I would rather keep it in the good old US of A if I can. And these guys were Jostens, Josten. Jostens is the printer I used on the sketchbooks. And so but I was really impressed with their price. The price on it was within a few $100s of what this Korean printer was that quoted me on. And I just thought, you know, I would just feel much better if I was in the US, if something went wrong. You know, these guys are in Los Angeles. They'd be easier to, you know, to deal with than a Korean printer. And that's, you know, thousands of miles away, and maybe there's a bit of a, you know, a language barrier at times, and you know, I didn't want there to be any communication problems, and so yeah, I went with Jostens, and they did a fantastic job. Very pleased with them. They're my go-to now when I print. I don't know if I'm going to be using them for comic book work, because I don't know if that's something they do. They probably do, but I'm going to have to check with them when I get ready to do Wraith of God. There's no point in actually, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of how much printing costs for stuff like that. And there's no point in getting a quote right now when it's something that you're not going to be printing for, you know, 5 or 6 months, because, you know, the price could change due to a variety of things like paper costs and everything else. So, you know, I'll actually get a quote when I'm, you know, a month or so before I'm ready to actually take it to the printer, because I know ballpark what I'm going to be paying anyway, just based on experience. So I'm doing a cute dragon. I don't know if I don't know if North Ella, if she likes cute dragons or not, but that's what you're getting. A little smoke coming out of his nose because any real dragon would be a fire breather, wouldn't he? So Hyper Kaiju, no, you know, it isn't Puff the Magic Dragon, but it is. That's who that is for you. So, North Ella, I need you to don't do it here, but send me your address so I can mail this to you. Let me just copy this down. You can email me. There it is, aaron@aaronlopresti.com. That's my email. So send me an email, North Ella, with your mailing address. And so when I get this done, I can send it to you. There you go. Okay. I got to start buying some old comics, man. I mean, the Creepy and Eerie's are fine, but those were, those are sort of just, I'm not too much of a condition hound when I get those things. Those are more just sort of to have, so I could have all, those rights and stories and pieces in there. I mean, they're in decent condition, but they're not, I'm not looking at those as sort of like investment comics. I'm sort of looking at them as just stuff I wanted to kind of look at. I'll give him a little dragon beard here too. And we're all flared out. There we go. But God, the market right now is so inflated for just about everything. You really have to work hard to find some stuff that is kind of off the radar and get it now before it gets on the radar. And I'm such a bargain hunter. I mean, I only buy really high grade books, but despite that, I'm still a bargain hunter, even for high grade books. So it's like I've got to find something that other people are not really focused on right now and get those while the getting is good. And I didn't really expect to find much at this show because I knew it was going to be a very small show. Um, hmm. You know, you end up doing stuff like this, and you kind of like, wow, I should have become a character designer because I really actually really enjoy doing kind of fun stuff like this. And the one thing I picked up from Wrightson, well, one of the many things I picked up from Wrightson was this sort of, he had this kind of ability when he did like humorous stuff like Captain Stern, or uh, every once in a while he would do something, you know, that had a humorous slant to it. And he was able to, instead of go like, you know, animation mode or something, he could still do it in his style. He'd do it, you know, more cartoony, but he would still do it with all the detail and stuff that he would put into a into a you know, regular drawing that he would normally do for comics or whatever. And so I sort of picked that up as well. I tried to, like, it's like you do it humorously, but you also try to maintain your style while you're doing it, rather than just go, you know, total Disney. Beta Ray Chill says, hi, and I really like Frazetta's Death Dealer art. I found out recently there was a comic based on it. Do you own it, or have you read it? If yes, is it any good? Here's the thing. If you get the very first one, Simon Bisley did the artwork in it, and it is great. Well, let me put it this way. It's great art. If I honestly can't remember how good the story was. I mean, it was just basically the Death Dealer like hacking people, but it was it was Bisley, and it was really tremendous. So, and I think Glenn Danzig wrote it. I know he published it, but he may have been the guy. Although I'm not sure if he actually did write it or not. But someone in the chat would know. So help me out here. But man, the artwork was just killer. Pardon the expression. So yes, I would highly recommend picking it up. I did have it. I don't know if I still have it. I don't. Well, I might. I don't think I do, but I did have it because I sold all my post 1980 comics like years ago, and that might have been in there. Although I don't know, I wouldn't have hung on to that. Now that I'm glad you brought it up, because if I don't have it, I'm going to go find one and get it. Let's see here. Joe Bernardo says this looks like a Ralph Bakshi version of a dragon from the World of Wizards. My wife hates that movie. I do like it, but my favorite part of it is the Plug. Mike Plug did all the you know, when they at the very beginning of the movie where they talk about the history and what happened and how the world got to be that way. Those are all Mike Plug drawings at the beginning of that movie. And of course, William Stout did the movie poster, which I think is killer. Oh yeah, Chuck is Chuck's the man. Chuck did a great job of incorporating just, well, not only personality, but he had a way of just with how they would do the lines. And I understand that he just directed it, and guys like Ben Washam and Ken, what's his face, and a couple others that actually were on his regular art team. Abe Levito were the guys actually doing the drawings. They're of course based on Chuck's designs for the characters, but he had a certain weightiness that he was able to bring to those characters, a three-dimensional weightiness that I really dug when I was a kid. Yes, have your dad do it. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever he's comfortable with is fine. But yeah, just make sure I get your address and I'll send that out to you. Well, Famous Monsters is like, I mean, they did great covers, but those are all like, photographs and movie pictures, or movie articles on the movies and stuff. There's no comics per se in there. I mean, I dig Famous Monsters though. It was a great magazine. But yeah, get yourself some Creepy and Eerie. There's some really good work in there. Weird War Tales. It's got some good stuff in there. I'm sure there's some Kubert in there. I know there's some Kubert covers. I don't know. I mean, he had to have done some interiors in those stuff though too. Both actually. Everything I buy is high grade, whether I'm filling out my collection or investment books. And I have a lot of Captain Americas. I don't spend a lot of time searching them out because they're the ones I need are pretty cheap, and they're not really going to. There's no reason for them to really get ridiculously expensive. Because I have Cap 100 up through almost 120 I need the second appearance of the Falcon, which I know is going to cost me some money because I want to get a 9.2, but I do need that. But I do have the first appearance of the Falcon. And then there's a few books here and there scattered. And I'll collect up to issue 200, then I bail on it. But I have like ones in the 150s and 160s that I need to get that I haven't got yet. So those are like some of the filler ones that I get that don't really cost that much money. And then there's like some old Journey into Mysteries and Thors that actually do cost money. But Thor's kind of off the radar right now, so it's probably a good time to be buying Thor. Yes, there's reaffirming what I'm saying. It's just the market is really crazy right now. I know it's ridiculous, but you can find them on like I not too long ago, right during this whole pandemic explosion of comic art, or pardon me, comic books. I got a Thor 126 9.2 slabbed for a pretty decent price because it just people weren't really focused on Thor. No one's really focused on Thor right now, other than of course the Warlock, first appearance of Warlock, and the Galactus issues, which I have. I don't have the first appearance of Warlock. I'm afraid that one is sailed on me. It's just too expensive now. I'm not going to pay that much for it, and it's kind of a bummer. But Submariner's starting to move right now too, which is really odd. But I have all the key issues out of that run, so all the ones I need are not that bad price wise. And who knows, maybe now's a good time to pick up some Golden Age stuff, since everybody seems to be so hyper focused on TV appearances and such that that Golden Age may be overlooked a little bit. Although there's always a market. The market for Golden Age is a different market, and there's always it's like it's never out of style with the right people. But we'll have to see how well Wraith of God does before I start worrying about picking up a major comic purchase right now, because I'm not in a position to be dropping $1,500 on a book or something right now. So, and a lot of times I make those purchases while I'm at shows with the money I made at the show, so it doesn't really feel like I'm spending money. I'm just not taking as much home with me. But if you buy something on the internet while you're at home, that's, that you feel. All right. So there's our dragon drawing that I owe this young lady. For being our 1,000th subscriber. It slapped the magic dragon, and he is drawn to scale. Excellent. Hyper says, I'm mad because I found out Sunday after church there was a small show with Stephen Butler near me. So many cons and creators just don't promote their stuff enough. Boy, that's the truth. Especially smaller shows. Oh, I'm way behind here. It's all gone blue chip. Going to find a cheaper hobby like restoring this nomad sitting in my old shop. Wait a minute. The Zemo first appearance is going for $60. Which Zemo are we talking about? Because if you're talking about Avengers number 6, it's going for a lot more than $60. Assuming you're talking about a more contemporary Zemo version. Yeah, Andy got me into collecting Zek Captain America, but man, these are going to be a bit of money out of my bank. Well, 80s books still haven't really taken off. So that's, if you have faith in 80s books, I don't, simply because everything post 1980, people were really aware of collecting. So finding near mint copies of stuff is pretty easy. And although there's desirability and that does drive the market, they're so easy to get in high grade that I'm not looking at them, other than like, X-Men or something like that. There's a few books, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, I prefer the older books it's a little bit more difficult to find in higher grade. They seem to be to me, they feel like a safer long-term investment. Aaron, have you thought about starting up a Discord channel? Isn't that what this is? Okay, once again, Hyper Kaiju. Aaron, have you ever drawn the Metaluna mutant? Hyper Kaiju, have I ever heard of the Metaluna mutant? That would be a no. Okay, so that's pretty good. Randy Funk says I need Cap 101 and like 111 to complete. No, 111 is a Stranko issue. Now those still aren't bad. I mean, they're, even if you got a near mint copy, you're looking, what, $300-400 maybe. And Cap 101 is a very affordable book, because even though the Cap 100 in say 9.2 is like a $1,500 book right now, somewhere in that neighborhood, 101 is, a couple $100. So again, and that depends on condition, right? I mean, if I have to have high grade or I can't do it. So even if it means paying more, I got to get the high grade. I just feel that and I don't buy these to resell them. I buy them to collect them, but at some point in your life, you're probably going to have to resell them. I mean, it's inevitable, right? Even if you hang on to them until you die, your kids are going to sell them. So you're going to get the most out of them as high-grade books if you can get into them at a decent price as a high-grade book, which isn't always easy. So what I'd really like to do is do a comic collecting channel, but I don't know how much interest, you might have a small interest in that. I don't know. Okay, so let's take a second here from the drawing to find out what am I working on? Well, some of you may know the answer to that. I'm sure you will, because I keep showing you the same stuff all the time. Better get that if you haven't got it. It's going to be hot. I don't know if it's going to be hot or not, but it's a really cool cover, even if I do say so myself. Still don't know what this is, but I'll keep you posted as soon as I do. Eric Nilotowski's Shadow Sentry. Look at that sky. Isn't that sky cool back there? I did about 40 layers of color with different brushes and shapes to get that. But anyway, that's an alternative cover I did for his Indiegogo funded book, so you might want to check that out if you'd like to get a copy of that. That, of course, is my alternate cover for Graham Nolan's Alien Alamo. And that's still in demand. I believe that in-demand store is still open. I want to check that out. But then what about you, Aaron? For those of you who don't know, let me throw this out there. I did a miniseries, 4-issue miniseries 5 or 6 years ago now for Dark Horse called Power Cubed. And it was originally a continuation, or should I say a reimagining or an updating of a series that I did 1-issue series. 1 issue doesn't constitute a series, but I had plans to do a series. But I only got the first issue out through Image called Atomic Toy Box back in right around 2000, 2001, I think it was, maybe 1999, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I did 1 issue through Image, and it did okay. Second issue did not do okay, so I had to cancel it. And for years I sat on it, and people were like, "Hey, are you ever going to finish that? When are we going to see more, Atomic Toy Box?" And so I got to deal with Dark Horse, and I did Power Cubed, which is actually Atomic Toy Box, but I changed the name, updated the name because Power Cubed made way more sense than Atomic Toy Box did. And so anyway, it's now available in trade paperback and has been for a while. And the cover to the left is the cover to the first issue, but it's also the cover to the trade. So you can pick that up just about any place. I'm going to try and have some of these available through my Wraith of God campaign that you can get, like the Lopresti collection signed and things like that. But I don't have numbers on how many of those I'll actually have available to me to do that with. So, but anyway, that's just something to be aware of. But the thing I want you to be aware of is this. Wraith of God is a crowdfunded project that I'm doing. Wraith of God is sort of a Batman of the Old West, and has a partner named Esther, who is a former Salvation Army worker, and they hunt monsters and in the Old West, and generally don't get along as well as probably they would like to. So there's an interesting dynamic there. So it's not just hunting monsters and killing werewolves and stuff. There's a moral to the story, so it's a little bit deeper than that, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a 72-page graphic novel. It's not going to be just a 48-page comic. It's going to be a thicker graphic novel, so you'll get more bang for your buck. And that's one cover. This is another cover option. This is my alternative retro cover that'll be available, and that's kind of based on Gil Kane's 70s Marvel, early 70s, 72. I think they did about a year in all their comics with this format for the covers. And so that's kind of what it's homaging, if I can use that word. So that's the second cover option you'll have. And then there's a third one that's being worked on by a very big name artist right now, but I don't have anything from him. And so until I actually do have something from him, I won't announce his name. And that's the page, the pencil page to the page 1, and that's one I've started inking as well, which we did a live stream on inking a couple of these panels. And I got to get this page inked, and then there's another page after this, which would be this one, which actually is inked. And then there's page 3, which I'm penciling right now, that I want to get inked as well, and get those colored for when I launch the when I actually launch the campaign live. And you're saying, Aaron, that's fantastic, but tell me more. Well, why don't we take a look at the why don't we take a look at the video really quick? Because if you can't pimp your project on your own show, then what good is anything? So let's take a look at this. So there you go. That's my arm, by the way. So if you haven't signed up for that, please do. Help a brother out. It's kind of stalled out a little bit. Started off really, really strong with the signups and everything, and we've kind of plateaued a little bit. And I like to get more before I go live. So if you haven't signed up for that and have some interest in that, please do so. You get a free limited edition trading card, though. Once you, if you sign up early before the campaign goes live, and then you actually order the book, you'll get this limited edition trading card, which I guarantee. Well, I'm not going to guarantee anything because then I have to do it, but I'm almost 100% certain it's going to have new art on it, rather than reprinting an image someplace else. So I'll make it very collectible. So yeah, so there you go. I don't understand folks who complain about, here we go. I don't understand folks who complain about an artist pimping their stuff. If you like them, you want them to be successful. Pimp away, Aaron. All right, I will. Okay, so I assume Discord channels are basically sowing seeds of discord in the chat so that there's, sort of, I mean, I honestly don't know technically what that means. So Jeff, you'll have to explain that to me. There, AJ Tom, there, look at it. See, I saw that In Stock Trades had copies of Power Cube back in stock. It's a great book. It's a very enjoyable read. If you kind of if you have a sense of humor and you kind of like some fun adventure, high concept stuff, you probably would like it. It is a fun read. It's not the deepest thing I've ever written, but it might be the most entertaining thing I've ever written. That's interesting. Style guides by, yes. Jose Garcia Lopez's style guides for DC. Those would be cool. I can't believe they have it. They must be available somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. What is he saying here? Discord is like YouTube chat that is up 100% of the time on another program. So he's saying Discord is like YouTube. It's just a different platform. Am I understanding that correctly? Oh, I see. Okay, wait a minute. Now we're getting more explanation here. Discord is chat software. Mike S. Miller, Brian Sherry, and Grace all have Discord channels. Okay. Well, I'll have to look into that. I don't, I'm not familiar with it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we got more information. And everyone in Discord can chat with mics on it also if that option is turned on. Oh, so people in the chat can we actually would have talking conversation rather than reading the chats on the, man, that sounds like chaos. I think we've all become aware of that, Jeff. Oh, no videos, just Discord is sort of like social media that is only open to people that are invited. Yeah, no videos, just chat software. Interesting. I'll look into that. It's like a big group text. Interesting. I'd have to kind of wrap my brain around the value of that. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Can you listen to it, or can you only listen to it if you're invited? Like if there's like 10 people in the group, is that the only people that are privy to what's going on, or can people be on the outside kind of listening to it like a podcast or something? Because if you're just doing that, I don't really know what the value of that is. Because we can basically do that with StreamYard, right? We can all like video chat and get 10 or 11 people in there. And so I don't know. Okay, so there's our dragon for North Ella, if she's still with us, but I'll get that to her eventually. Okay, so we have another sketchbook to do. Actually, we have two more. I got to quit doing these like epically long live streams. They tell me that people are more likely to watch them in retrospect if they're shorter. It may be great while you're live, but getting viewership afterwards may be a little bit tougher because they're too stinking long. I don't know. All I know is I got 1,000 subscribers, baby. Okay. What is that? I want that out of there. There we go. Let's see. North Ella is still here. All right. Okay, so I'm getting more information about Discord. Only people on the inside. Okay, so it's just another way to talk to, a group chat with your friends, but I'm not, I always look at everything from sort of a business platform. Like I remember pulling aside a cosplayer at a San Jose con, right? And one of the very good ones, I mean, beautiful girl, you'd all know her if you pay attention to that stuff. I can't think of her name, but she does Wonder Woman. She was terrific Zatanna, and she was Zatanna at the show. And I pulled her aside and asked her. I said, I don't really get what you're doing. I said, you're dressing up, walking around here, posing for pictures for free. So you're not even charging for the pictures. And I said, I don't get it, And she goes, oh, I just enjoy doing it or whatever, I was like, that's like me saying I enjoy drawing, Well, that doesn't pay your rent. I was like, you could, especially her, because she was, really good looking gal and really looked good in the costumes and, all that kind of stuff. And so I was kind of like, well, why are you charging for like photographs? Get your picture with Zatanna for like, $5 or whatever. And, so I never really understood the cosplay thing. I mean, a lot of them I understand, or, they're thinking they're going to get discovered, by Hollywood or modeling agencies or something by doing this. And maybe they do. I really don't know. I don't follow it that closely. In fact, I don't follow it at all. But I kind of was like, I don't understand why you're doing this without the intent of it being profitable to you in some way, which I guess makes me sort of like a mercenary or something. But there has to be, there has to be an end game for why you're doing something, right? Like that. You know, you spend the money to go to a show and you spend the money on the costume, and I don't know, it just seemed to me that, you know, set up a booth and sell photos of yourself or something, you know. Uh, so I say that to point out that um, this Discord, I don't really understand what the value of it is, because I mean, I guess it's just not. I mean, what you could do like a Zoom call, right? Wouldn't that be the same thing? And then you could actually see everybody. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. Oh, I see. Okay, so you do the stream, or you do the thing, and then you cut the video and then upload the video after the fact. I see. Okay, so then it's okay. I see. Okay, I see. So you just like you would like prepare videos or audios or whatever, and then you'd post them later. Oh, okay, I see. That makes a little more sense to me. You got to explain everything to me like in depth. I just don't get it sometimes. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me, but I understand now. This, of course, is Power Girl, and some of you might be saying, well, you're not drawing her best assets, but it is a headshot, not a bust shot, pardon the expression. So here's a little interesting side note for you. When I came over from Marvel to DC and I did Wonder Woman, I'm sure many of you will remember that. I was originally supposed to do Power Girl, and I'd even done like some prelim drawings of the character and everything to kind of get into the groove. And about that time, Terry Dodson left Wonder Woman, and they were like, dude, do Wonder Woman. And I was like, and I didn't know if I really wanted to follow Terry or not. But Mike Martz called me up and he said, are you out of your mind? He goes, you had a chance to do one of the big three, do the big three. Well, the ironic thing is, so I went and did Wonder Woman, and then oh geez, who did Amanda Connor ended up doing Wonder Power Girl, and became a superstar. I'm like, and that's not to say that she wouldn't have anyway, but I'm like, I wonder if I'd stayed on Power Girl if I'd fared better. Although I have to say I did get a little bit of positive publicity when I was on Wonder Woman, but it didn't last because I went to Justice League International after that, and that got canceled in an untimely fashion, and sort of put me on a path of lesser known projects for a while because of the way the new 52 is set up. So it's just one of those many what ifs. But like I said, it may not have been, Power Girl necessarily that got Amanda Conner to her level of stardom that she's at right now. So it may not have made any difference. This 0.3 sucks. Aaron, make note to self. Throw pens away when they suck. Oh, I got all these. Excuse my arm. I don't know if you guys are on, I'm sure most of you guys are on Instagram or whatever, but I posted a poison ivy I did at the con in Kansas City that's sort of blowing up a little bit on Instagram. It's always interesting that pictures of pretty girls always seem to do way better than other stuff. Can't quite figure that out. Of course, I'm joking. But I'm going to have to get that up on Facebook and Twitter too, not just Instagram, but to forgive me for a second as I'm resting my voice. Getting a little bit gravelly. So there's Power Girl, at least, I don't know what she looks like these days, but this is kind of my old school Joe Staten Power Girl. Which I believe he was the guy that, she first appeared in All-Star Squadron something or other, so I don't know who the artist was. But I know he did that first miniseries that she appeared in, unless I'm mistaken, which is possible. I have been mistaken before. I do make mistakes, like leaving my keys in my hotel room when I'm trying to get on an airplane. All right, so that's number 301. Power Girl 301. Sketchbook. All right, so I got one more to do. Who do I have to do? Oh, Swamp Thing. Are you kidding me? This is going to be fun. What do they say in Jurassic Park? What's his face? Hang on to your butts. Okay. Swamp Thing it is. I did one other Swamp Thing in one of these sketchbooks. It turned out really well, so I'm going to have to make sure I bring it on this one too. Dang it, if I keep this thing from burning out. There we go. You know, there's always like certain comic books that are like your favorite when you're, you know, a kid or even an adult, right? But they only have, you know, your favorite run of like an artist and a writer on something, right? But like anything, they only last a finite amount of time, whether that's Byrne on X-Men or, you know, whatever. And eventually you've read all of them, right? And you're like, dang, I wish there was more. And that's how kind of I am with Len Wein and Wrightson on Swamp Thing. Although Len Wein kept writing it when Nestor Redondo took over, and Nestor Redondo did a great job, don't get me wrong. But I look at those original 10 issues of Swamp Thing by Wrightson, and I'm like, oh, you know, why couldn't I have had more of that? You read the 10 issues and you're like, oh, I want more. So what do? You just buy like more copies of, you know, trade paperbacks and stuff of the same stuff, thinking somehow it's like getting something new when it's the same old, same old. But what great same old, same old. JP Roca got his sketchbook on Thursday. He says, thank you, JP. I can't remember what I drew for you, but I'm glad you got it and it got there safe, and I'm glad you like it. Now here's a deep question that deserves an intro. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I think of. I'm not on some of these characters like this. I'm not one of the guys that kind of like looks at it and says, I want to put my own spin on Swamp Thing, which is probably what I should do. But I think I want this to look as much like a Wrightson version of Swamp Thing as possible, because that's the one I love. And I am kind of a slave to that sort of thinking, which I don't necessarily think is a great way to think as an artist. But you know, it's like old superheroes and stuff like that. It's like everybody wants to put their spin on a character, right? And a lot of times by doing that, they, you know, create a sensation and, you know, create a following because they come at it from a different angle and do something really cool. But I just have such fond memories of these characters from when I was a kid. It's like I go back and draw them the way that I remember them being drawn, almost like I've got a you know, a model sheet for them, right? So to me, there's only one Swamp Thing, and that's Wrightson's Swamp Thing. And this sort of new age approach that they brought to Swamp Thing, you know, when Alan Moore took over and he became sort of this environmental activist or something, and he became a lot more leafy and had flowers on him and grass and all this kind of stuff. That's not the Swamp Thing that I remember. I remember the Wrightson Swamp Thing that was had more mass to it. And, you know, he put some roots and stuff in there and things. And, you know, maybe his depiction of Swamp Thing had a lot to do with, you know, having to draw pencil and ink a monthly comic, you know, so he kept him maybe a little simpler in his form and didn't add all the extra vines and roots and stuff. He'd throw a few in here and there, but he didn't really he wasn't like this pile of grass and moss and flowers and weeds and that he is today. He was more like a superhero that, you know, was encrusted with some of that stuff. And if you go back, I did a Swamp Thing story for the Walmart 100-page Giants, and that's a very Wrightson-y Swamp Thing that I did. In the, you know, like Capullo or somebody like that, when they did Swamp Thing, they kind of brought their own thing to it, and it's very cool looking, and it's a very cool swamp monster, but it doesn't really feel like Swamp Thing to me. And so rather than doing that, I just kind of, I go to the source material, which for me is Wrightson, and I try to, you know, do it like Bernie would have done it. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to look like Wrightson stylistically, but he would be the model sheet, for example, that I would follow. That Sea Hyper, that's if you want the best out of me, get me to draw a monster. Yay, Garbage Man. I think Nighthawk's being a smart aleck. In case you're not, I apologize, but I think you were, and so you deserve that. Oh, he wasn't being a smart. He could follow up. Okay, I take back that beating I just gave you. I apologize. That's right. Be a Bernie bro. Yeah, that stuff is great, but he becomes a different character in a lot of ways when Alan Moore took over. But a lot of people liked it, you know, because let's face it, the book, once Wrightson left the book, and Redondo took over, and again, Redondo did a great job. Some really nice art in those issues, but it sort of lost its appeal, I think, to fans, and ended up getting canceled, I think, with issue 24. Well, then Alan Moore came on and did something totally different with a character, which really caught on, made Alan Moore a star, and he also made the character more of a star. So you can't argue with his approach. Or maybe it was just his, you know, his very interesting writing style, so prose heavy. You know, people felt like they were reading a novel instead of a comic book, and so that might have had something to do with it. But regardless, it, you know, Swamp Thing became a different sort of thing when Alan Moore took it over, and it sort of became more of a Vertigo book eventually. And when Wrightson and Len Wein were doing it, it was more of a, you know, Monster of the Month book, which is what I really liked. Which is kind of, those of you who looked at Garbage Man. Speaking of Garbage Man, have I mentioned lately that the trade paperback from Dark Horse is out, or not out, but available for pre-order right now at your local comic shop and through Amazon. This is 134 pages, collects all the old DC material, plus 18 pages of new material. So you want to keep your eyes open for that. But my approach to Garbage Man, along with when I was working on Sludge, when I was actually writing Sludge, and that was when Gerber, you know, was late with the script or something, I would come in and write an issue, and I wrote several of them. But if you look at my issues of Sludge, they're all, you know, Monster of the Month type things. Like, you know, he fights the Frankenstein monster, and he fights this alligator in the sewers, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with the book. And Gerber wanted it to be crime book where Sludge was sort of a catalyst for these crime stories and was sort of involved in these, these crime elements, which was much less interest to me. And Gerber's scripts were fantastic. It was some of the best writing he'd ever done, I thought. But they were still, it was Sludge is a crime book as opposed to me doing it, which is Sludge is a monster book. And so when I did Garbage Man, I set it out to be a, Wrightson, Len Wein Swamp Thing or a Aaron Lopresti Garbage Man type character. And so it's not that he doesn't deal with, personal and moral issues along the way. Those are always stuff I include in my stories, but it wasn't, it was just, there was monsters and more monsters. Because for me, that's the fun stuff to draw. So once again, I provided you with a extremely long answer to what should have been a very simple question. Have you ever drawn the big alien character? I haven't, but I love that big alien character. This is an interesting concept right here. And I don't disagree with this. I prefer the scientist that had an accident, not the plant elemental way to dehumanize the character. Yes, I actually sort of agree with that. Oh, okay. Metaluna mutant from this island Earth. Okay, I do know who that is now. I just, the name didn't register. Yeah, I thought so too. I never saw the show, and maybe I should go check it out in retrospect. But I did see some of the promo stuff for it, and I thought the makeup, costume, whatever, was really good. How did I get Garbage Man to Dark Horse? Well, as the story goes, when I did Garbage Man originally, it was created as a creator-owned project for DC, and DC. But I wanted it to be available to be used in the DCU because I figured, well, that's greater exposure, and then it's more likely to get used in other things, even if I was just like making toys out of it or whatever. So we signed this agreement, which I maintain ownership of the character, but DC paid me a flat fee, which in this case was, I think, $2,000. And for unlimited rights to the character. So basically they licensed Garbage Man from me for $2,000 forever. Okay. And the only stipulation was that after the initial series, or whatever we ended up doing, which happened to be a couple of miniseries, they would have to use the character at least, I don't know, I think it was once every 3 years or once every 5 years. I think it was once every 3 years, to maintain the license, right? So, and I would have right of first refusal. So in other words, they would say, okay, we need to re-up the license, so we need to do a Garbage Man one shot, right? So they would say, Aaron, which they didn't do this, but theoretically they would have said, we want to do Garbage Man Halloween special, and we want you to write and draw it. And I'd say, okay. Then I would either say, yes, I will do it, or no, I don't really want to do it. And then at that point, once I refused to do it, they could get someone else to do it. Okay. So I basically had right of first refusal to do something like that. So I was totally fine with that, because I figured, no, it's better than sitting in my file drawer and never see. When you ask for like Swamp Thing or something, you get a much more detailed drawing. Uh, anyway, so for whatever reason, and the reason I did Garbage Man for him is because Swamp Thing was not available to the DCU at the time. It was being held captive by Vertigo, which, although they're owned by DC or part of DC, they're a separate entity. And so they had the rights or the ownership of Swamp Thing because of Vertigo and stuff, and they would not give them back to DC to use in DCU. So Dan DiDio wanted a kind of a replacement monster for Swamp Thing, and so I said, well, let me come up with something, and then I came up with Garbage Man, and so that's why we did it in the first place. But about halfway through the miniseries, he was able to get the rights back from Vertigo, so that Swamp Thing then was part of the DCU, and then Garbage Man was completely obsolete or worthless to them. So they never used him again. And then when the 3 years came up, or 5 years, or whatever it was, and they didn't use him, they just gave the rights back to me, and which I thought was really kind of strange, because why would you willingly give up the rights to an IP that you could potentially use at some point, even if it was, a bit repetitive? It's like Elongated Man and Plastic Man, you don't need both of them, but you got both of them, so you might as well keep them, and you never know which one you might be able to use for whatever purposes. So I thought there's no way I'm ever getting this back, because all they have to do is say, okay, we're going to do a Garbage Man one shot, Aaron, do that for Halloween, and then they keep the rights for another 3 or 5 years or whatever it was. And but they didn't do it, and as a result, they were in the licensing agreement ran out, and so they gave us the rights back. And when I say us, I'm referring to Kevin Maguire did an Alien story called Tanga in there as well that was involved in that, and so he got his rights back too. And then I just went to Dark Horse with it and said, do you guys want to publish these? And they said, yeah. And so I told them I needed a certain amount of money because I had to do 18 new pages. And they were agreeable to that amount of money, considering it was 18 pages for essentially 134 page graphic novel. So, so obviously if you budgeted for a 20-page comic, they'd say, no, I'm not going to give you that much money. But if you budgeted for a 134-page book and they say you only need money to cover 18 pages, they were more than, that fit into their budget, and everything was fine. So I was able to get enough money to actually pay myself to redraw it and hire Matt Ryan to come in and ink it, because he was the original inker on the series, and get John Cleese to color it, the new pages, because he was one of the 2 original colorists on the series. So that's how it happened. So I'm quite happy to get that out, and if the trade paperback does well, we'll probably see more Garbage Man through Dark Horse. If it doesn't do well, then you might see more Garbage Man through me, through independent publishing of it. And that's the story. And I'm sticking to it because it's actually true. So there's a pretty groovy Swamp Thing, if I do say so myself. Not really. Yes and no. What we've done was when you do something like that with Dark Horse, because the only reason they want to do this is so that they have a character they can potentially exploit, like in streaming services or whatever. So they've licensed it, but that would be for rights outside of comics. So in other words, if we do the trade paperback and let's say no one buys it, right? And or not enough people, I'm not going to say no one buys it because I'm sure people will, but if they don't have enough sales that makes them think, oh, we should do more of this, then they'll hang on to the rights for a period of time. I don't know, I think it's probably 3 years, and might try to sell it, to Netflix or something like that, right? And if they do, then we have a 50-50 split on it, which to me is totally acceptable. If they're going to go out there and push and work to get it, take done, then yeah. So, or if they got a toy deal or whatever, it would all be, this kind of 50-50 split thing. But if, let's say they didn't want to publish the comic anymore, but they still have the rights for 3 years, I could go and publish more Garbage Man comics, and they would still have the right to exploit it in other mediums for that period of time that the contract was signed for. So, and again, that's fine with me, because at some point you need somebody to go out and pimp your stuff for you to Hollywood or whatever. I can't do it. You can't sit around and hope that someone in Hollywood sees your comic and goes, wow, I want to make a TV show out of this. It generally doesn't happen. So, but when you have, a Dark Horse out there doing it for you, then yeah, I'm more than happy to, share in any profit that might come out of it. Because in my opinion, it's their work, hard work, getting the thing turned into a movie or a television show or video game or whatever. So in a sense they've licensed it, but I would have the right to go in and just like if they didn't want it. If I went to them and said, hey, I want to do a Garbage Man miniseries, and they'd go, hey, no, then I would say, okay, let me do it myself. I could do it myself. So, they gave you back the rights. Oops. They gave you back the rights because they didn't want you turning it into a long-haired, bearded, and grizzled wizard who spends the rest of his days cursing DC. That's got to be a reference to something that I'm not getting right now, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. Yeah, well, that Swamp Thing movie, if you recall, the Man Thing movie, like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, ended up on USA Network or something like that, TBS. It's horrific, terrible. Well, Vertigo is gone now, is run into the ground, but they weren't gone when they gave him Swamp Thing back. I don't know what kind of deal Dan did with them to get Swamp Thing back in the DCU, but it wasn't because Vertigo was going under. They are under now, but that was just because they hired the wrong guy to run it, and he kind of didn't do a very good job with it. No, I think. Yeah, I think he meant tremendous. Oh, don't encourage that kind of terrible humor. Snap out of it, AJ. Gee. I can't imagine a female version of Garbage Man being even remotely interesting or attractive. So probably not. It might be a record. Keep it up. No, I think I think some. I think we've had some guys get on a roll. Jeff Potts has probably been hit at least that many times before. That's the truth, brother. All right, so there we have Swamp Thing. That's for Andrew Tom, AJ there. So it's funny that he would be giving me lip when I'm working on his sketch. I might draw a mustache on him or something. I would never disrespect Swamp or rights in Swamp Thing by giving him a mustache. All right, so this is 302. Wait a minute, did I make Power Girl 301? Because I was supposed to make her 301. Yes, I did. Okay, we're good. All's good in Mudville. All right, yay. Well, there's another epic 2-hour live stream. 3 sketchbooks and a dragon. You can't beat that. That's true. 3 slaps is a hat trick. Anything more is MVP level play. That's true. AJ's gotten a lot of beatdowns today, though. He's earned it. Let's do this. Let's come up for air. Air run. Should slap myself for that. That was horrible. In fact, maybe I will. Boo. Yeah, it wasn't worth a slap. It was definitely worth a boo. All right, dudes and dudettes, there you have it. Our first last second live stream post KC. I'll probably do more this week. You never know. But dude, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Just because we're past or at 1,000 doesn't mean we don't want to go higher. You know, there's people out there like David Finch and Ethan Van Sciver that are like have 166,000 followers. That's what we're shooting for. So we're at 1,000 right now. So that means I got to do 166,000 more to beat those guys. And I think we can get it before I die of old age. So I think we need to work towards that. So if you're watching for the first time and have not, or even if you're watching a lot and you just haven't subscribed, now's the time to do it. And because the thing is, if you haven't subscribed, this is what Jack Burton would say to you if you hadn't subscribed.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Are you crazy? Subscribe. Because when you don't subscribe to me, I feel like this.
Help, help, I'm being repressed.
That's right. And no one needs a repressed Aaron Lopresti, right? I want a liberated, free Aaron Lopresti. And I can only do that by having multiple subscribers. I've discovered that. That's a truth about myself. Again, don't forget about this. This is really important. Sign up just so I know who's interested. If you haven't gone to the page, please go to the Indiegogo page. The link is in the description of this YouTube channel. It's also on my Facebook homepage. It's on the Aaron Lopresti Art Facebook page. It's on my Twitter bio page. Pardon me, it's on my Twitter profile page. It's on my Instagram bio page, I believe it's called. So it's everywhere. You have no excuse for not going there, checking it out, and signing up. It's going to go live mid-August, and I want to make sure we got everybody on board that can be on board to make this a huge success, because it's certainly going to be worth it. I can guarantee you that. So anyway, there you have it. I think EVS is doing a big show tonight. I might drop in. We'll see how it goes. I've got other work to do as well, and I got to call my potential guest for the big Sunday show and see if I can get that lined up. But anyway, thank you all. Oh, leg kick. Look at this. This would have been the first show that leg kick missed, but he comes in just as I'm signing off, so he saves the day and keeps his reputation pure. I know. You're right. I keep forgetting. I gotta get some Chuck Heston. I will for the big show. I'll have Chuck Heston. All right, look at that. This statistical zero should be an example to all of you. He signed up for Wraith of God, subbed the YouTube channel, is following on Twitter. He's got his bases covered, man. Make sure you have your bases covered as well. I know, isn't that funny? He made it right at the buzzer. So he's good to go. His reputation is saved. And Jeff, of course, he wants one of these as he's heading out the door, as I'm heading. She says, I'm still standing. All right. Thanks for joining us. See, now look at that. She was our 1,000 subscriber, and she's been here this whole time, checking out the show, watching the drawing, laughing along with us old guys. So I appreciate that. Yeah, there you go. Loprestiites, go forth and subscribe. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, I'm following at work and signed up. Doesn't that count? That's extra bonus type stuff. if you're watching at work and you've signed up. So what do I have for you? That's the best I can do, Joe. Wow, look at this. He's driving 2 hours from my dad's to work and he's listening. So, I mean, all you guys really, Joe and you guys at work that are, checking out the show despite all the trials and tribulations in your life, this is for you. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate you. I love you all. Remember to snack heartily and always tune in right here. And when you subscribe, you get notices for my last second live streams. And how important is that? You won't know about them if you're not subscribed. So get on there if you haven't subscribed. Do it, as Arnold would say, do it now. And sign up for Wraith of God. Do it now. And I don't do that as good as Dan Fraga, but I'm working on it. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll see you guys sooner than you'd probably think or like.